I'm going to make an assumption right now that if you're watching this video, you're in search of a better life for yourself. I don't know what that looks like for you. I know for me, it meant I wanted to make more money. I wanted more freedom, more flexibility, more control. Now, if I have your attention, I want you to keep watching. If none of those things resonate with you and you're looking for a 9 to 5 job, you're looking for a steady paycheck every week, this is not going to be the opportunity for you. That's my guarantee and my disclaimer for you early on is that this is not for everybody, and that's okay. But for the right people, this is going to be a fantastic fit because it was for me. I can say that because I had frustration points in my life a little less than 2.5 years ago, things I wanted to change so bad. And when I had a friend tell me about this opportunity, it dramatically changed my life. Now, my name is Brian Bass. I'm the owner of the Bass Agency. We're partnered directly with Symmetry Financial Group. And my goal today is simply to provide an overview for you, talk about what we do, and even more importantly than just what we do is who are we looking for? Who are the people that we're looking to add to our team that can be a benefit that mesh very well with our culture, that our values align, that you're looking for similar things that I was when I got started with this. And so I'm going to go through that. We got a little bit of time to cover a lot of information. So let me start with this. I'll give you a background on myself and my why. The reason that I started this is because of my family. I've been married for over 12 years. We have 5 kids. And at the time of this recording, because there's one more on the way, because life with 5 kids is just kind of boring. So we needed to add one more to the mix. But this was my reason. This was my reason from day one for getting started in this business is I wanted more time with my family. I've always said that if somebody audited my life, I want them to be able to say that I was a dad first. And so time with my family was extremely important. And I don't know if anybody can relate to this. I was tired of my family getting the leftover time. They'd get leftover daddy, where I'd get home at the end of the day and I'd be just a little tired, a little bit more cranky than I normally would be because I gave my all at a job all day for somebody else building their company. And I just got to a point in my life where I just got so frustrated and so tired of doing that. And it's just funny how when you get to that point where you're ready to make a change, the right things come into your life. And like I mentioned, a friend had introduced me to this business, and I saw the opportunity to be home with my family, to make more money, to provide a better lifestyle for them. And that's where my story came into this business. Now, what's more important than that is what's your reason? What is your why? And so we're going to go through that right now. I think that's one of the most important things before looking into the semantics and the logistics of a business is before all of that, think about why are you even looking into it? Why is this a good fit for you potentially? And I'll just cover a couple of these for me personally, but hopefully you see one on here that gets you emotional. Mine were the two that you see, the first one and the third one. The ability to work for myself, but not by myself was such a huge concept for me because I had a lot of doubts about doing something on my own, but I also knew that I had the ambition to be successful with it. And so with that, with my ambition, partnered with a team of people and a group of coaches and mentors that helped guide me through this, that was the secret combination for me. And then I mentioned the time and money freedom. I mean, come on, who doesn't want more freedom? We all want to have more freedom to be able to do the things we want to do, right? I'll tell you, the price that you pay to gain freedom, especially in an opportunity like this, it's discipline. You don't get started day one and have freedom. You have to earn your freedom through doing things consistently over and over. Maybe it's some of these other ones here. Maybe it's meaningful and impactful work. Doing something where, yes, you make a lot of money, but you make a lot of money because you help a lot of people and you serve a lot of people. Culture. I love culture. I'm a culture guy all the way. I love being part of teams. And if it's not fun, I don't want to be a part of it. Our culture here at Symmetry is amazing. We love to have a good time, but we also love to get stuff done. And we're a team that believes in encouraging each other, lifting each other up, not tearing each other down. I've been part of work environments in corporate America where the way that you succeed is to tear the people down. There's none of that here. We build each other up here, and that's why we've been recognized for award-winning culture for several years now. Here's some of our core values. Just for the sake of time, I'm not going to go through all of these. Again, I'm just going to pick some of mine that I was really attracted to, that I loved. Because for me, if we're not working with the right people that have the right values and our values don't align, you're just not going to last long. I've worked at places where I just knew my values were different and I knew I didn't belong there. Some of the ones I love here is that last one. We have fun and we get stuff done. Again, if it's fun, if it's not fun for me, I'm gonna get burned out with it. I have to be working with people that I feel like we're doing something together, we like each other, and we're doing something for the greater good. The other one here is that second one, the relentless pursuit of personal growth. If you become friends with me and you know me, I am going to say, you need to read this book. Oh, you're struggling with that? You need to read this book. It's just, part of the struggle of being my friend is I believe in personal growth because I've seen it in my own life that my income improved when I improved me. See, a lot of people want their circumstances to change. They don't look in the mirror and change what actually will change their circumstances. I promise you, when you work on yourself, your income is going to improve as a result. And Symmetry recognizes that. That's why it's part of our core values. So let's talk about a little what we do. How does this all work? So if you get selected to work with us, you would have to get your insurance license. We're not going to talk about that in length here. The person who introduced this video to you can talk about that process, but it only takes about a week to get your insurance license. Pretty simple process. But once you get that, you'll be qualified to talk to our clients about these amazing products that we market. We start most of our agents off in this category here in the general life department, where it's mortgage protection, where we have policies that would pay off your mortgage if something happened, if you passed away or became sick or disabled. We also talk a lot about term policies, universal life policies, accidental death. We have a lot of agents that want to do health insurance as well. We have opportunities there. And then down the road, once you learn our products and some of our advanced products, whether that's investments, annuities, our debt-free life products, you can actually become a subject matter expert and start talking about those things to the clients. In the meantime, if you have a client that has interest in those products, what's amazing is you can refer it to a subject matter expert on the team, and you still get 40% commission for doing that. So they do the work, you get 40% commission. It's a pretty good deal. The partnerships with our carriers, I love this aspect of what we do. I used to sell insurance for what's called a captive insurance agency, and that just means that you work for one company and you only sell their product. The great part about this is we don't work for any one company. You work for yourself, and you have access to 50 different A-rated carriers in the insurance space that we can devise solutions for our clients. When you work for a captive company, if you have a client that doesn't get approved for life insurance because they don't qualify medically or for some other reason, they just get declined and there's really nothing you can do about it. When you work as a broker, you're not limited to the number of carriers that we have. So if one carrier declines the risk, let's say there's a carrier that doesn't like that somebody has diabetes. Well, this other carrier specializes in clients that have diabetes. So we have lots of options. Being a broker is fantastic, especially when you have amazing companies like this that are backing us. Why life insurance though? Is there really a need there? Get my face out of the way here for you so you can read this. What do we do? Is there a need for our products? Yes. I'm not going to read these stats to you. You can read them yourself. You can pause the video and read them. But most people, I think we would agree that things in America, most people are pretty tight right now. Paycheck to paycheck. A lot of people are struggling financially. Things are more expensive than they've ever been. And if something happened to one of those people that is making income in the house, for most families out there, it just spells out a financial disaster. We're talking about bankruptcies, foreclosures, just a lot of ugly stuff. And these unexpected events that can happen in life, I'm telling you, you never think it's going to happen to you until it does. One of my best friends, 2 months ago, he's 39 years old, and he suffered a stroke. And thankfully, he lived. But who thinks that's going to happen at 39? If that's you and that happens, what does that look like for your family? And our clients, that's our job is to ask them those questions so we can find solutions for their problem. One of my favorite things that I get from my clients is after I help them and they say, "You help me sleep better at night because I've been thinking about this a lot." Because if you really ask yourself that question, what would happen if my income went away? What would be the effect for people in your life? And when we get real with our clients and we talk about this stuff, it uncovers a deep need in their life for the product that we have. We're not selling a luxury item here. We're not selling things that people don't need. We're selling a product and a service, the insurance business, that's been around forever. And it's always going to be necessary for people to have this kind of product. See, when you're looking at a business, you can either look at what's the sexiest thing I can do, or you can say, what's something that works that just it might not be the sexiest thing, but it just works. You ever see those shows where people like the house hunters where they're buying like a $2.4 million house? You're like, what do these people do? And it's usually some business that's really not that exciting. It just it's a necessity for people to have, and that's what this business is. Now, I think it's exciting. I love what we do. I love the conversations we get to have with clients because I believe in protecting families. All right, so here's the numbers. Symmetry started back in 2009. They are, in my opinion, that's such a young company, and we're still at the ground floor of what they've even been able to do. But you can see this snapshot over the years. They've literally grown every single year. And I love being part of a winning team. I love being part of a company that's going somewhere. And I love the old Wayne Gretzky quote. He said, "Skate to where the puck is going." And trust me, Symmetry, they understand where the puck is going. They understand trends in the marketplace. For one, they have made it so easy for a client to get life insurance in a short amount of time in a very, very easy way. I used to sell insurance where it took about 4 to 6 weeks to get clients approved at a previous company I was with. They had to go through medical underwriting. They had to go through a lot to be able to get a policy. Now, I typically get clients approved either on the spot after about a half-hour appointment or within about 1 to 3 days, depending on their health. So it's a very quick process, and Symmetry is responsible for speeding up that process for our clients. Symmetry's invested over $30 million in lead generation for their agents. We'll talk about that in a little bit here. And in 2024, over 600,000 new leads were generated for Symmetry agents. See, if you're in a business, you have to have people to talk to about your product. And Symmetry realizes that, and they have leads in force where clients that have already indicated that they're interested in the product that we have, they've sent in a mailer, they've responded to a digital campaign that Symmetry's done, indicating I want information on this. Those are the clients we get to call. We don't have to go door to door. We don't have to go in a phone book. We don't have to just call random people up and see if they're interested. We get to communicate with people that already have an interest. And our job is just to dig a little deeper and say, okay, why are you interested in this? I love that we have leads. It allows us to sit in our homes like we do, like all of the agents that work remote, and we don't even you don't even have to have pants on when you do this. Pretty cool opportunity. But don't let the client know that. All right, how do we do this? So we have a platform called Quility Navigator. Quility is the parent company of Symmetry, and they've created an amazing platform where you, as a business owner, you'll have access to your own site. You'll be able to take the client's information, plug it into a system, and it's going to shoot out a bunch of different carriers options. Makes it really easy for us. And then the leads platform. Let's talk a little bit about this. This is where, in my opinion, Symmetry is different than a lot of other opportunities. You can go get your insurance license and go work for companies that'll say, "Hey, we're going to provide leads for you. You don't have to pay a dime for them." And they're also going to start you out at an extremely low compensation level. What was attractive to me about this was the fact that we had ownership, that you could be an entrepreneur and you can invest as you see fit. Symmetry develops a lot of leads for us. You can decide how much you want to invest in leads based on how much you want to create. That's the entrepreneurial part of this. And that's why I said if you don't have an entrepreneurial spirit, this may not resonate with you. Because if you think about starting any business, let's say it's a landscaping business. Well, you have to have a truck. That costs money, right? You have to put gas in that truck. And with gas, what it costs now, it's a lot of money. You have to have equipment. You have to have insurance. You have to get an LLC. There's a lot of cost to doing business where you're going to be five to $10,000 in the hole before you even start. With this, it's not five to $10,000, nowhere even close. But Symmetry allows you to invest into those leads so that you can call clients from the comforts of your home and you can help those clients. You don't have to go out and develop business. You also can do that if you want. I love taking advantage of the leads program. It's amazing for us. So here's when you launch your business, we want you to be as profitable as possible, as quickly as possible. The way to do that, in my opinion, utilize those leads that we just talked about. That's people that are there waiting for somebody to call them to talk about this product. And when you see how much we make when we sell a policy, you're going to understand that investment, the reason why you invest into those leads. But also, when you're starting a business, it just makes sense to tell the people in your life what you're doing. Yeah, think about it if you started a restaurant. Who would be the first people that you would tell about that restaurant? I would imagine it'd be your friends and family, right? You might make a Facebook post about it. You might do a mailer that says, "Hey, I'm doing a grand opening," or invite a bunch of your friends. Do the same thing here. I guarantee you have people that you know that are in your cell phone that have a need, that need life insurance, and they would love to buy it from you. They just don't know that you do it. Don't be a secret agent, be a proud agent and talk about your business. One of the ways we do that is talk about making a list of about 100 people that you know. See, if you're like, well, I don't have money for leads right away, no problem. Let's get you started to get you profitable with people that you already know. And there are tons of people out there, people that have bought houses, they've had kids, they've recently gotten married, and they have a need. And a lot of people, guys, they don't have life insurance. Let me tell you a quick story that will talk about the urgency of why families need this. I have a friend named Lauren, and a couple years ago, the unthinkable happened to Lauren. She became a widow in her early 30s. And her husband that passed away had a policy through his job at the time. He quit his job to start his own business, so he no longer had insurance because it doesn't stay with you. And he was dragging his feet on it. He knew he needed to get something in place, but he didn't. He waited on it. And unfortunately, he passed away. And she was left 6 months pregnant with her third child with no life insurance and now figuring out how to be the breadwinner for her family overnight. Guys, people need this stuff. And when you're talking to people that you know, you're not bothering them. You're making sure that they are protected on the worst day of their family's life. It's a beautiful thing that we get to do. Share it with people. Here's some of the products that we have. I'm not going to go through all of these, but these are different products that we have for different phases in people's life. Like we have the final expense market. That's typically for elderly clients that want to plan for burial expenses and things like that when you pass away. Another thing I'll touch on because this is a huge advantage of what we do. I actually never even heard of this, and I was in insurance for 7 years before I saw this. Living benefits. Living benefits is huge, guys, because chances are is most people aren't going to die if they're in their 30s or 40s in the next 20, 30 years. Probably going to live, hopefully. But if something happens, like I mentioned, my friend having a stroke, or my father had a heart attack when he was in his 40s, and he didn't pass away, thankfully. But what happens if a critical illness or an injury happens and you don't die? How do you replace that income? Well, our products include living benefits, and that's a huge thing that we talk to our clients about because it protects them with a blind spot in their plan that they may not see. Okay, let's talk a little bit about this business model. Love talking about the business side of things because I don't know about you, I just didn't want to be an employee my whole life. I wanted to build something where I could have ownership and I could be proud of it and I can attach my name to it and say, man, the work I'm doing every day, it's to build the future for my family and our dynasty. And I just love that. I love being in business for myself. And I read this book a long time ago when I was 20 years old called Cash Flow Quadrant. Another one is Rich Dad Poor Dad by the same author. And he came up with this model that you may have seen this before, but this talks about the four different ways out there to create income. The E quadrant, the S quadrant, the B, and the I. Most people live right here because that's what our school system teaches is go to school, get a good education, get good grades so you can graduate and get a good job. Yeah, we all know that because we've heard that a million times. Well, I did that and I hated it. And every job I worked, I felt like I was frustrated and I felt like I was meant for something bigger. And so with this business, this will allow you the opportunity to start in this S quadrant, the self-employed quadrant. Think about the best way I can explain this, the S quadrant is think about an accountant that does taxes. And maybe they don't have a big business, it's just them. They do the taxes. So they get paid when they're doing taxes, but they get to do it on their time and they own the company. It's kind of how you start here. My goal, I didn't want to stay in that quadrant though. I remember when I read this book when I was 20 years old, I was so attracted to be in this B quadrant, the business owner quadrant, because that allows you to have the time and the money that a lot of people out there are seeking, where your income is no longer just dependent on you. You've built something that actually outlasts you. And that's not easy. It's not easy to do. And you have to get around the right people that have done that. And here's one thing I will tell you. Anybody listening to this, you're going to get this is a nugget that you can apply any area of your life. You need to learn who to listen to. You need to learn to listen to the right people in life. And if you're listening to a bunch of people that are employees teach you how to be in this quadrant, you're never going to make it. Because guess what? Those people are going to criticize you. They're going to say, oh man, you're just a dreamer. You're just, yeah, of course you want to be a millionaire. Who doesn't? Blah, blah, blah. They'll say all that kind of stuff. And I know that because they said it to me for years. Well, it's a funny thing happened when I got around people in this quadrant is they were the biggest cheerleaders for this. A lot of them are leaders in this business that they're the most encouraging people telling me, hey, you can do this. Trust me, with your personality and your skill set, you can build something significant here. And it's just funny how the people are that where you want to be in life, those are the ones you really need to listen to, not the people that are in the same area as you, or even worse, even which is more dumb, is taking from advice from people in life that are in a worse spot than you. I never understood that. But our goal, we want to help you bridge from this S quadrant to the B quadrant. We want to help you make that transition. We're going to coach you on that if that's your goal. Now, if you just want to be in the S quadrant and you want to own your own business there, perfect. Awesome. There's a great opportunity for that. But if you want that big business where you can leverage your time and you can have that freedom, you can be at the ball games, the dance recitals with your kids, you can travel with your loved one whenever you want. You can leave for 3 weeks and you come back and your bank account's bigger than before you left. That's going to be possible when you build a business in this B quadrant here. And so here's how we get paid. Let me move myself again so you can see this bonus structure. But we start at 80%. 80%. I kind of said that just like, pretty low key. But if you're in sales, most sales jobs don't start you out at 80%. My last sales job that I left, I never made more than 25% commission. Yeah, I know. That's why I left. And now I get to start at 80. It's an incredible thing. Here's what you give up though. You give up that security like we mentioned earlier. You give up that sure 3,000, 4,000, $5,000 a month, whatever it is that your salary is. You give that up for the potential to have unlimited earning potential. I want you to understand that. There's going to have to be a sacrifice at some point. Can't have the security and the freedom all together. You got to pick one. I wanted freedom so bad that even when I had my fifth kid on the way, I lost my job, I lost my primary income. I was so excited about this opportunity because I felt like for the first time I could actually start building something for myself because I had the vehicle to do it. So we start at 80%. Our pay plan goes all the way up to 130%. It's incredible. You get paid more, you can get paid 130% on a policy. Doesn't even really make sense in my mind when I first saw this. I'm like, how is that possible? Well, you get paid the first year. Life insurance companies get paid for the remainder of the term. So they're doing okay. Don't worry about them. They can afford to upfront give you more of a commission. But on the right hand side here, this dark blue category, these are ways to hit the promotions to earn higher promotions and get to 85, 90, 95 on your own pen. And what that means is that you're personally producing. You're the one that's selling the policies and you're helping clients directly. Now, on the left hand side, this is if you decide that you want to build a team, you want to aspire to leadership here, and you want to bring some people along the journey and help them out. Then these metrics are for a team. No need to focus on all those details now. Whoever showed you this can go into this in a little bit more detail. This is extremely important, though, is what's called Slingshot. This is our program to help accelerate the time it takes you to get promoted. Now, who determines when you get promoted? You have any guesses? It's you. Maybe for the first time in your life, it's you. I remember my mentor told me that. He said, I think this is the first time you've had an open runway in your career. And he was right. Because I was part of organizations where if you didn't have the right last name, you didn't get promoted. If you didn't kiss enough butt to the boss, you didn't get promoted. If you didn't play office politics, you didn't get promoted. Well, here's the only thing that matters about getting promoted here is did you hit the production goal? Doesn't matter how old you are. Doesn't matter how good looking you are. Doesn't matter how much of a good communicator you are. It doesn't matter. All that matters is did you hit the numbers and you get promoted. I love that. That means it's in your control. It's how fast you want to do it. And we have a 3 month plan. That's the quickest you can do it, where you can get to 80 to 95%, which is a massive deal. I'm going to explain that in a second here. Here's how this works. So let's give a couple different models. We have opportunities available for part-time and full-time. Here's what I will tell you. A part-time agent, that's not a side hustle. This is not somebody that's just like, oh, I'm just going to get my life insurance license and maybe I'll sell a policy every couple months. That's fine. You can do that. You're just not going to get a lot of my coaching and my mentorship. I'm going to help a part-time agent that can commit to a 20 to a 25-hour a week schedule. We can figure out hours that work for you. Obviously, you'll have the flexibility to change that, and it could be a fluid schedule. But part-time just doesn't mean that you're part-time in your commitment. You're still going to be full-time committed to this with learning the skill sets. Or else, I just got to keep it real with you. You're not going to learn the skill set to make the kind of money that you want to make. Just being part of this is not enough. You're going to have to take a lot of action. You're going to have to get constant coaching and correction. And you're gonna have to be okay with not being good at something for a period of time. That's what humbles a lot of people here. We get people from a lot of different impressive backgrounds, but it really doesn't matter. You're gonna start from the bottom here and you're gonna learn as you go. Now, the cool thing is, as you get better at this, it starts becoming really predictable in terms of the income that you want to create for yourself because now you have the skill set. So here's an example of a part-time agent. So this is somebody that's working about 15 to 20 hours a week and they're placing 8 sales on a monthly basis. So they're issuing 8 policies, which means the customer gets approved and they pay for the policy. And they're at that 80% contract level. And we're using an average of a $1,200 annual premium volume sale, which just means that's the total amount over the course of a year that a client pays for a policy. $100 a month, $1,200 a year. And how that works, the carriers that we work with, they're amazing. They give us an advance on the commission. So the customer pays for 1 month, and we get paid an advance on the whole year's commission. They actually give us 75% of that up front. So technically, it's 9 months up front. And then in the back end of the policy, as long as it stays on the books, you get paid the remaining 25% that's owed to you in months 10, 11, and 12 of that particular policy. I love that because when you're in this business producing consistently for 9 months, every month now you're going to get paid on policies that you sold last year. It's really cool to wake up in your bank account and see deposits of $150, $200, $300. And you're like, where did that come from? Like, oh yeah, that's a policy that I sold, 9 months ago. It's awesome to get paid over and over on the work that you've done. But with all the math here, I'm not going to break it all down. Your advanced income doing this for a year would be 72,000, so that upfront 75% we talked about. And then 96,000 is the total once it's all paid out in full. Here's a full-time agent, same type thing, but you see more hours put in, more issued policies. This is issuing between 15 to 20 policies on a monthly basis. And you're looking at, again, advanced income a little over 200, total income a little under $300,000. I know it's big numbers. Some people will be like, wow, I never even pictured myself making that. Some of you other people are like, yeah, that's what I want to make. And that's why I'm watching this video right now. That was me. And then if you want to be a super full-time agent, somebody that's probably putting in 40 plus hours per week, you're helping more families, you're getting better at this, you're increasing your commission level. We're showing this at 100% contract level, which if you're doing this for 6 months, a year, you should be hitting these numbers if you're doing this consistently. You're looking at pretty big income here. We're looking at almost a $500,000 a year income, helping 30 to 35 families on a monthly basis. Now, don't get me wrong. To do this, it's not going to be skating in the park. You're going to be working. You'll be able to work from home, but you're going to be working way more than the person that's making 96,000 doing this part time. And then what makes Symmetry different? In my opinion, it's the opportunity for ownership. I love that about what we do is that it offers ownership. A lot of other companies, they might be a flash in the pan with a good compensation scale, or they'll say, well, we have this and you guys don't, but then they don't offer you any ownership. You're in somebody else's business forever. Symmetry offers you an opportunity where you'll have contractual ownership, an asset in the form of a business that even if something happens to you, it continues to pay your family. That's invaluable for me. I just never saw that at a regular 9 to 5 job, and I needed that in my life. I wanted ownership. I wanted equity. And so here, if you want to build your own agency, which I would highly recommend, if you're interested in entrepreneurship, who doesn't want to have a real business? Who doesn't want to bring people along the journey and have a team and attract people that have similar values to you and be able to create your own culture? I was in love with that idea of being able to create a movement and be able to create an army of people that are making a difference. And one of my goals is I want to help 100 different people become financially independent in their own business. It's one of my mission statements because I want to do it, but I also want other people to experience it. I want other people to experience the joy of being able to work from home, to make a good 6-figure income, to spend the time with your kids and not have the stress of a boss telling you what to do, to not be leaving the house at 8:50 with a coffee in your hand and you're just stressed because you're late for work. How about taking your time in the mornings, reading, praying, meditating, getting your mind right for your day, and having your day start when you want it to start? That's what business ownership is all about. And the opportunity to build a business here, I'm not going to cover every detail here. Person that showed you this video can explain this more. But when you bring somebody on board, the insurance carriers are going to pay you an override on their production level. So if they're at right here, if you bring somebody in at 80% and then you're at the 105% bonus bracket, those carriers are going to pay you that differential override, which would be 25%. So you get 25% of the issued business that this person did. As they make more, as they increase their comp, you actually make less. That's what I like about this is they get to make more, you make a little bit less. The cool part is their business is bigger, so now you get less of a percentage on a way bigger number though. So the average spread here is going to be when you start building your own agency, it's going to be probably somewhere between 10 to 15% is the average spread. And to show a smaller agency, this isn't a huge agency, but if you're doing $20,000 of personal production and you're at this 105% level, and then your agency, however many people that might be, issues $35,000 of business with the 75% carrier advance, you're looking at a $315,000 year income being an agency owner. Part you producing, part you building, and you're doing both of those skills. You're selling policies and you're helping other people. Executive vice president, this is a level in business where I would probably venture to guess you're not producing a whole lot here. In this model, we show literally zero personal production. You're out of the game selling policies, and you're more acting as a mentor and a coach, helping build these teams and lead your organization, creating systems in your business, working with the top leaders in your business. Thing that I was really attracted to. I love selling policies, but I don't want to do it forever. I want to have a business that no matter what happens, it's taken care of. But in this model, this is showing a $500,000 a month agency. It's going to take time to put this together. And look, this might not be for everybody, but you can see the income here, $900,000 a year with a business like that. Maybe you don't want to build it this big. And can I be honest? Not everybody's going to build it this big. This is not everybody's desire is to have something like this. But for the people that do see this and you are attracted to this, I want to talk to you because I want to do it too. And I see this thing big. I see this just being the beginning of this. And I want to help as many people that think this is possible accomplish this in their life. We've had people come in that were nurses making $43,000 a year that are at these levels in business now. And it's incredible how quick it happened for them when you really think about it. There's a leader in this business that I'm thinking of right off the bat, Jamie Susie. She's a great friend of mine. She was working as a nurse, making, I don't know what it was less than 50,000, it was 50 to $60,000 a year. And now she's at these levels in business, and that was 5 years ago. It's amazing how quick it can happen for you when you go all in and you have the right system to leverage. And then one of the last things I'll talk about here is the perks. Who doesn't like bonuses and trips? I actually am not a huge travel guy. It was never a hot button for me. I wanted to go to certain places, but I will tell you, there is one place I always wanted to go. And I've had this dream for a long, long time. And it was this place right here, Hawaii. I don't know if anybody else has ever dreamed of going to Hawaii. Maybe you've been and you're like, well, get a bigger dream. But that was my dream. I wanted to go to Hawaii so bad. And I won a carrier trip last year, in March of actually this year of 2026, through a company, Banner Life, because I wrote a lot of business with them. They sent my wife and I on an all expense paid trip to Lanai, Hawaii. We flew there and then we took a private plane to the island of Lanai. We stayed at the Four Seasons. We got pampered like we were wealthy people. It was awesome. It was a dream come true. And I didn't pay anything for that. That was just for doing what I do. And they said, hey, thank you for selling so much with us. We want to take care of you and send you on a trip. And maybe you as a family, you and your spouse, maybe you're looking at these places and you're like, where do we want to go? And you can pick which carrier that you want to write with based on the trip that they do. I think that's incredible. And these are some other trips here, tons of great places. And they do it first class. Can I just tell you, these insurance companies, they have deep pockets and they want to say thank you to the people that help them out. So what's the next step? What does it look like for you? The next step is going to be getting back with the person that put this video in your hands. If it was me and you saw this through social media, send me a DM. If it's through my website, click the Calendly link and let's set up a time to talk. But that's going to be the next step is to really determine, now that you've seen what this platform is and what we provide, we want to know what you provide. We want to know if you'd be a good fit for this team. So get back with the person that sent you this video, and I look forward to meeting you soon.